Salutations friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing another responding to comments, questions, commentary, conversations, and the like. These videos I like to go past and respond to older comments and questions on past videos, so if you enjoy these more chatty videos, then let's go. Now, just to kind of reiterate, if you are familiar with my channel, if you follow my channel, thank you so much. I have been a little AWOL the past few weeks. There's been a lot going on. I always say this behind the camera, and the second I think I can finally get back to a normal, regularly scheduled Monday through Friday upload, just the world keeps throwing its crap all over the place. It's been a very hectic few years for everybody, me, myself, and I included, and for people very close to me that I love very much. It's been rough, and it hasn't gotten easier, so I just wanted to apologize for my sporadic uploading schedule. Some people have emailed me, and I appreciate it so much, asking me where I've been, if I'm okay, and also what's going on with my YouTube channel. I'm not going anywhere. It's just YouTube is my hobby, YouTube is my outlet, and the first place that if I need time and space that I go to is YouTube. So if I'm away for a few days or a week or two, it's normally just because the world is on fire on my end and I just need to extinguish it, and it's been on fire. So I'm hopefully going to be figuring things out moving forward as best as I can given the circumstances, but it's been very rough the past few weeks, and I appreciate all the concerns, so thank you guys. I'm going to answer this question first because this is going to segue into another question, and the reason why I want to do that is because some people don't know about this, and I think it's important. So this isn't like a self-important answering question, but anyway, so August is my birthday month, and if you guys haven't watched my last few hauls, they've been smaller than normal because of my last haul video, Wool Star asks, I cannot wait for your August haul video. I love Ivory Root. I wonder, is Love Tuberose by Amouage on your wish list? Yes, Love Tuberose and Lilac Love are two fragrances from Amouage on my wish list. But if you guys do not know, I have a huge haul usually in August to celebrate my birthday, because I like to treat myself to fragrances on my birthday, and I save up. So normally Mother's Day, May, I have a huge haul because there's amazing sales, and then June and July are usually, unless there's something amazing going on, I usually save money because I go ham for my birthday. I don't expect people in my life to buy me perfume for my birthday. Like my husband, he bought me a really nice garden cart, a yard cart, and that is exactly what I would have wanted him to get me if he had asked me, Kristin, you know, what do you want me to buy you? I probably would have picked a yard cart because I've been gardening so much. I mean, I'll link it below. It's huge. I feel like you could fit 10 of me in this cart. It is a massive yard cart, and I love it, and it's perfect, but I don't expect people to buy me perfume because A, I probably already have it, and B, it's hard to buy me something because I might not have purchased something for a specific reason. I don't mind buying myself perfume. So August, I buy myself fragrance, and if you guys have been following my channels for the past few years, you know my August hauls are pretty massive. This year specifically, I've decided to go for quality over quantity, which means I am going for more heavy-hitting fragrances and also fragrances that I've just not purchased. So I'm not going to sit here and say that the haul is going to be like 20 or 30 or 50 bottles like it has in the past. In some hauls this year, I've had 35 bottles. But they are going to be expensive bottles, or bottles that I have been putting off for a very, very long time. I did repurchase Ivory Root because I did do a swap for that little guy right there from Royal Crown, and I did purchase a Salutations, but the big bottle, the huge bottle that I was definitely getting was Nuwa from Roja. I think I said that wrong. That was I'm at least getting that, and that is one of my holy grail Roja fragrances, and was also considering actually getting Haute Luxe. But again, I don't know if I want to open the floodgates and spend that much money on a bottle of perfume yet. But Nua was a fragrance that I adore so much. And I bought Britannia earlier this year, a few months ago, and I finally decided to get Nua. It retails full retail price, over $1,000. I didn't spend that much, but even discount, it's still very expensive. So quality over quantity for me this month. And I have an order from Lucky Sun coming too, is something that I'm very excited for. This is another bottle of perfume that I'm not going to tell you guys about because I'm going to review it for you guys and talk about why I bought it and something about this brand, because I don't see anybody talking about this brand. I don't think anyone has talked about this brand. Maybe one or two people have mentioned it in passing, but it's an amazing brand that has amazing fragrances, and I've fallen in love with this scent. And anytime I did a Lucky Scent order, I would always choose this fragrance as a free sample. And I finally decided to purchase it. It wasn't expensive, it was like $250, which is still expensive, but if you guys know the money I drop on fragrance, not crazy. But this was also must buy for me. So those are the two fragrances that I told myself, if I only spend like $1,000 on fragrance this month, it's going to be these two for my birthday, but there's a few others that I am probably going to be picking up very soon. So my birthday month is generally massive. However, I am going to be getting myself belated birthday gifts because this is going to go into another comment, and this is on my Labo fragrance collection, and this comment is, where did I get my Labo Gaiac? And if you guys don't know, most people do, but if you are unaware, Labo has their city exclusive fragrances, and I believe their Gaiac is Tokyo. And you usually can only buy those city exclusives in the city. Now, if you purchase the fragrance, you can get them refilled at other Labo locations, but you cannot buy a brand new bottle at a Labo location that is not the city exclusive. And the city exclusives are generally more money than their normal regular everyday line. So I think 1.7 ounces is almost $300. I think. I'm wrong, I could be wrong. But once a year, they have their city exclusive events. So in August, you can buy small bottles, and in September, you can buy the full-size bottles. So there is one or two city exclusives that I'm going to be purchasing for their birthday presents for me, but I can only buy them in September. So I purchased Gaiac and the vanilla fragrance from Labo last year during their city exclusive event from Labo's website directly. So that is where I purchased the Gaiac fragrance from Labo, and absolutely love it. It's gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance, one of my favorites from the house. Still Bay Rose 26, which is the Chicago city exclusive, is still one of my top 5 fragrances ever. But the city exclusive event is one of my favorite times to purchase perfume, because I do love Labo fragrances, and I am more partial to their city exclusives than their regular fragrances, although I do really enjoy Labo. But more of my birthday presents will come from the Labo city exclusive event. But those are 2 comments in one, sort of. What I'm getting myself, the one big fragrance that I got myself, the Roja, the $1,000 Roja bottle, and also 1 or 2 bottles of Labo too, and purchased it during the city exclusive events. I highly recommend purchasing from Labo. Definitely check out their discovery sets and stuff in September to see if you can find something you like. My favorite is still the Bay Rose. I love it. However, Rose 31, I wouldn't say it's close or identical, but if you do love Rose 31, give Bay Rose a shot. The Chicago city exclusive is gorgeous, and the Gaiac and the vanilla are just really beautiful. I'm probably going to at least get the Oak Moss one, and maybe Dallas's. I haven't decided if I want to get the aldehyde. Question or commentary on my haul video, and this comes from Anya, and their comment is, why do you think your reviews on dupe perfume houses are not as good as original houses? I'm just curious, what do I mean by that? So I've talked about this before in the past that I am not going to be reviewing dupe or clone houses, and I'm going to be severely cutting back on fragrances that are dupes and clones. I actually just recently decluttered 95% of the fragrances in my collection that were dupes and clones, unless they're Baccarat Rouge clones. And the reason why I'm not going to do that is, like I said, is I don't feel confident in doing it, and it's not what I want to do. So first and foremost, my YouTube channel is a channel for me to connect with you guys and share what I want to share with. I have been so blessed to have a channel where I have been able to connect with people who love perfumery and also with people in the industry. I am given more opportunities to try new things. I get sent discovery sets, full bottles. I mean, PR that I get sent, I am very blessed to be sent anything, and I'm very honored that brands trust me with their brands. So the perks of having a YouTube channel, I definitely feel, and I'm very grateful for. That being said, the reason why I started my channel wasn't for the swag. It was to connect with people because dealing with my chronic illnesses, social anxiety, being an extrovert, not extrovert, introvert, very much not an extrovert, I wanted to talk with people about perfume because this is something that I love. And as I started doing more videos, I started doing YouTube for YouTube, and some of that was clone houses, and some clone houses would reach out and be like, hey, we would love to send you stuff and try. And I did it and I liked it, but I didn't feel confident enough and good enough and experienced enough to do a good job. And I'm not a YouTuber as a career, obviously not. There are some people who are, and that's perfectly fine. If you want to turn YouTube as a career, awesome. If you have the personality, if you have the looks, if you have the ability, the charisma, whatever, awesome. I don't sit here and think anything less of myself for not being able to make YouTube as a career, and I don't think less of anybody who has ambition to want to be a fragrance influencer. I think do whatever makes you happy. Me being happy in this is sitting down and talking and sharing with you guys. That being said, there is a level of experience and passion and understanding that comes with clone houses, dupe houses, inspired houses. And it's not my forte. It's not something I'm passionate about. It's not something I'm knowledgeable about. And generally the fragrances that people want to see are not the fragrances that I would be generally good at reviewing for you guys. So like, even if I were just doing it for numbers, I wouldn't be, it would be just such a waste of my time. It also has something to say for the people that do a good job of it, because there are so many reviewers and YouTubers out there who do a fantastic job at comparing some of these amazing inspired clone houses and houses that create affordable versions of some very expensive fragrances. And they do such a beautiful job at telling you the pros and cons of, you know, the expensive versus the inexpensive smelling, saying this one smells different this way, but this is, you know, it's cheaper, but you're going to get more longevity. I mean, there's so many people out there that do so much better at bringing you guys these videos and these reviews and these comparisons between inspired clone houses and these fragrances. I don't think it's necessary for me to do it. So it's not necessary for me to do that because there are already so many people out there that do it much better than I do. It's not something that I'm particularly passionate about. And honestly, like, I don't care enough about numbers that I would want to do it to boost my channel to get maybe an extra 30 views on my videos over doing a video that I particularly am not excited to do. Now, just because I'm not excited for clone houses does not mean that I have an issue with clone houses. It's just not my thing. I'd much rather save money or wait for a sale or search on gray market sites and buy the original than a clone. And there's people who would much rather purchase a clone. I think that's a personal thing. It is a very polarizing part of this community, and that is a completely different discussion. But just for me, myself, and my channel, it's just not something I'm particularly feel confident in and just don't really care about. So I decided to just declutter my clone fragrances because any of the videos I would do on them I've already done, and I've also decided that if I do share any clone or dupe videos, it's going to be on Baccarat Rouge because I actually really love that fragrance. I'm very excited for that fragrance. I have more of a knowledge about that scent, and I like sharing alternatives. Even though I deeply love Francis Kurkdjian, I deeply love his house, I do know that those fragrances are exponentially expensive. So I like to give you guys my opinion on clones or fragrances that smell really similar that might be great alternatives. And I feel very passionate about that because I just like the way that fragrance smells, and I understand that $300 to almost $500 for a bottle of perfume is way out of reach for a lot of people. And so I feel like that would be a better source of my energy, is to share, hey, this is a great version or a great alternative, and here's why, because I feel passionate about it, I feel knowledgeable about it, I have enough experience about it. That particular fragrance, but other fragrances, I just don't have that same knowledge or that same passion or that same experience. And so I will leave that to people who do, because they're going to do a much better job than I will. But I'm not talking down about myself. In fact, I feel like I am playing my strengths up more than saying that I'm a bad reviewer, because everyone's going to have things that they're really good at, and everyone's going to have things that they're not very good at. And I don't think that I have the ability to articulate properly and have the knowledge of the types of fragrances that people want to see from those types of videos. And there's people out there that do so much of a better job, and I'd say go to them, watch them, and come to me for my silly videos. So again, not talking down about myself, it's just I feel like I don't have the experience, just because usually those types of fragrances aren't my style, or I don't wear them enough, or I don't have enough passion about them. They might be like dumb grab fragrances, or fragrances that might be fragrances that I wear for utilitarian purposes, that I just don't have the gusto, the bravado to give it my all. And there's some people out there that'll do a much better job. So I don't know if I completely answered your question well. I did talk way too long about it, but that is why I've decided not to do that. But that has nothing to do with the fact that there aren't other people out there that do a much better job. And I would say, instead of watching my half-assed potato head try and do it, watch people who do it better. This is kind of a bittersweet comment, but I'm gonna talk about this because this is something that's been going through my head. This is from my ranking my entire Armani Privé collection a few years ago, like a year or two ago, I forget how long it's been. This is from Patricia T, and their comment is I can totally see you and Carlos together having a sniff out. Sweet, you're adorable counting. Thank you. So Carlos, Brooklyn fragrance lover, he was a dear friend, obviously one of the OG fragrance reviewers, and unfortunately he passed away last year. The reason why I'm mentioning this, and I'll also mention like a little story, is because Carlos would come down when I lived in South Florida. His mom actually lived like 2 miles from where I lived, so we would pick him up from the airport when he came down, and we would drop him off, and I would come over at night and hang out with him like when he was down for a week, like every day. So like Carlos is somebody that was like a friend of mine, like a real life, became like a real life friend of mine, and I would talk to him like every almost like at least once a week. We would text a lot, and I would talk to him on the phone a lot. Like I loved Carlos. So this time last year, I was hit really hard because I was thinking to myself, you know, if Carlos hadn't passed, I probably would have driven down to South Florida to see him, because I moved to Central Florida, and so it was kind of sad. I was thinking about his mom, because his mom was adorable and wonderful, and my heart goes out to her. and then this year too. So that's kind of like why now, because it was like the end of July around the time I'd see him, so it's around this time. But the funny thing is like on the Armani Privé, is the funny thing is that Carlos, the first time he came to my house, he actually made a beeline to my perfume collection, and he was just like looking, and he grabbed Vert Malachite from Armani Privé, and he was just like smelling it, and he was just talking about it. He was so excited about it. And so like it was one of the like the first, like his first experiences with my collection was Armani Privé, and we actually reviewed that fragrance I think later on in the evening, or he came back another night, I forget exactly. We reviewed that fragrance together, and then he brought a bottle from his collection down for us to review together too. I think it was Soprano, which is now part of the, I forget exactly, I think Xerjoff kind of brought it back into its family. But Vert Malachite is a fragrance that I love, and there are a few fragrances that I have that I equate to people. And so for me, Shalimar I equate to my grandma, Jessa McClintock I equate to my mom. I equate Rose Essential and Aqua Universalis Forte to my husband. And to Carlos, I equate Vert Malachite, because that was, for some reason, just how excited he was to see that fragrance and just talk about it. He was just so animated. And something about Carlos is that when people saw him on live streams, when people saw him in videos and saw him interacting with Steve and other people, he was very animated, he was very boisterous, he was very chatty. He's like that in real life. He was constantly on. He was never off. In fact, sometimes I think we were driving him home one night. we were driving him home from, I think we were doing a meet and greet at Osme, and it was like really late, and I think John and I were exhausted. And we're just like, and Carlos is just talking. And he's talking about perfume, and he's talking about perfumers, and he's talking about the event, and I'm just like, how do you have so much energy? Oh my gosh. And he's just chatting. But he was so friendly, and he was so full of life. And every time, I don't wear that fragrance as much as I used to, because it kind of makes me nostalgic and sad because of Carlos. But yeah, so if you imagine him just kind of sniffing through my Armani Privé collection, he actually literally did that. Question I will respond to, so this video isn't crazy long, comes from my updated fragrance review of Maja Bakali's Tule Tule. And I wanted to do this because this is kind of related, not related, but when I reviewed Italica, I talked about salty almond and how I liked it. But I liked how Italica wasn't a salty almond. And Tule Tule is that beautiful kind of salty sea almond fragrance. So this comes from my fragrance trail, and their comment is, what's your take of this as of today? So Tule Tule from Maja Bakali is still one of my favorite almond fragrances, and I still wear it a bunch. Now, one of the questions I get asked a lot is, do I wear through all of these? And obviously I'm not wearing these a day. I've talked about how I wear fragrances. I wear at least 2 to 3 fragrances a day. One of them is usually a body mist in the morning if I'm outside taming a wisteria bush for 3 hours. That was this morning. If you're wondering what I wore, it was Sage Me from Pacifica. I'm not wearing it anymore. I obviously had to take a shower. But I don't reach for everything that I love as frequently as you would think, because there's a lot of times I reach for things to review. I reach for things maybe it's not appropriate to wear if I'm going to the doctor, if I'm running errands, if I have to go meet with people that are sick, because that's how life is, and I don't want to offend or upset anybody that might be taking medication that makes them nauseous. So I'm very mindful, at least within the last 8 months, about how I've been wearing my fragrances. But when I do get the chance to wear something that I particularly love, and I feel like I can wear whatever I want, because I'm not going to be at a doctor's office, I'm not going to be at a pharmacy, I'm not going to be around people that might have a sensitivity to smell, I get very excited. And one of those fragrances I love to wear is actually Tula Tula from Roja Bacali, specifically because of that almond note. Now, what I like about that fragrance is the fact that it is very transportive. It's a beautiful, fresh, aquatic scent that isn't your stereotypical, like, this smells like Neroli Portofino, this smells like the Amalfi Coast, you know, which, yeah, it kind of does, but it has that fresh, baked pastry vibe to it, like an almond croissant in the background. And there's something really delicious, really authentic, really sexy, but still very wearable. And I am so enraptured and in love with that fragrance that I still think it is one of the best almond fragrances out there. And it's the only fragrance from that house that I own currently. I do need to expand my collection of Roja Bacali. I don't have an urgency though, but I will definitely get at least another bottle or two. But Tula Tula is my favorite from that house and one of my favorite almond fragrances ever. And probably one of the most wearable almonds because it has a nice blend of fresh and crisp and delicious and gourmand and salty. There's a lot of different things about it that can bring people to it, but it's also still very artistic and unique and creative. So I definitely am still completely enraptured with it. All right, guys, I'm going to start talking. If I seemed a little glassy-eyed, quite literally I was playing video games till like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I woke up at like 6 o'clock to cut back my giant wisteria thing, which is literally trying to climb into my house for about, I think like we were out there for like 2.5, almost 3 hours cutting back this bush, so I am like exhausted, but it is what it is. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.